Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the greatest talk show in the world. Excuse me, yes ladies and gentlemen, this is the Big Time Talk Show. Excuse me ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry. And today I'm trying something different, guys. Instead of cutting the video, trying to edit it and all that, and which I'm not very good at if you didn't know, I'm going to try and do a quote-unquote podcast. I don't know if you've seen, Talk is Jericho, Steve Austin's show. It's usually done, via just a recorder. And today I'm just going to take you through my daily routine. And we're going to go on a recorder in a little big-time adventure with the man himself, the greatest sports entertainer to ever enter an arena. And ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you once again, because I know sometimes it's a little difficult because you got a million things running through your head. Some of you guys are still in school. Some of you guys have work. Some of you guys don't do anything, but you still got a lot going on. But I have to remind you that this Sunday, do not forget, this Sunday is the return of the most controversial show in the world today. It is Backyard Politics, ladies and gentlemen. It's got everything. You got drama. You got stepping on toes. You got ankles being broken. You got a lot of trash being talked. But it's all constructive criticism. If you want to see the very best this business has to offer, like you got myself, you got Jason Walker, you got Jack Andrews, you got the brother man with the master plan, along with millions and millions and millions of ideas running through our heads, and all kind of guests. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. So I want you all to check it out with us, and make sure, if you don't do anything else today, you go on Twitter, hashtag support BYW, support Backyard Wrestling, people. It's only you that can get this thing trending. Now, as I continue on to our little show here, last night, I want to throw in another plug here. If you haven't checked out the Creedcast, the most recent edition, the Creedcast episode 12, I believe, I posted the link on Twitter last night. I'll go ahead and post it again whenever I get stopped. Ladies and gentlemen, it is one of the most entertaining Creedcasts of all time. Not saying the other ones weren't, but this is the Creedcast is the epitome of cast shows in backyard wrestling. It ranks up there with the Backyard Wrestling Fix, the Big Time Talk Show. I'm telling you guys, if you want entertainment, you're thirsty for entertainment, you got it right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the year of the podcast, and if you're not entertained this year, then it's your own fault, because you got the Creedcast, you got Backyard Politics, you got Yard Center, you got the Backyard Wrestling Fix, you got the Big Time Talk Show, you got everything you need. It's just one click away, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stay updated on Twitter. Follow us all on Twitter. Follow all the superstars. Even if you don't like them, follow them, support them. If you support Backyard Wrestling, then you should follow each and every superstar on there, because if you truly are a fan, you support. And I'll give you an example, guys. CJE Maria Excellence. That girl follows every superstar in Backyard Wrestling. She might not even like them. She might not even care for me one bit. But she follows me, and she's involved, and she's all... And another thing, guys, if you're going to watch a podcast, be involved. Because that podcast or the talk show only goes as far as you take it. If you're not involved in the podcast, it's not going anywhere. If you guys weren't involved in the Creedcast last night until I got on, it wouldn't have went anywhere. I'm not going to say I carried the show, because that's completely false. Omit that, because that's completely false. I did not carry the show. I helped out with it because I consider Everett Creed a friend, a colleague of mine, just like Cameron Jackson. And he gave me the opportunity, so I went on there and did it. Bad Reed, maybe he had some other stuff planned. I don't know. I'm not in his brain. I don't know what he does day to day, but Everett hyped it up pretty good. He promoted it very well. He did. He's very good at promoting things, and that's one thing I can say about Everett Creed. He's a great promoter. He's great on the mic. He's great ring. He's good with ring psychology, and when he does promos, his psychology. If you notice the promo he and I cut last night, it was a fantasy make-believe promo. He was obviously playing heel, and I was obviously playing a babyface type deal. Not used to playing that, but if you watch go back and watch that promo, and I want you to watch his facial expressions, the way he articulates his words, the way he his pronunciation of words. Watch him and watch the way he does it. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know how to cut a good promo, I give you 3 people. You watch the way Cameron Jackson uses his absolute charisma and rhyming just like the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. You got Everett Creed, the egotistical maniac. He's obsessed with power. I think I've even heard him referred to as a cannibal. The cannibal of human society. Because, I mean, just, you watch the way he gets real low, then gets loud. I mean, the man is, I mean, if I could do psychology like that, ladies and gentlemen, I would be right there where he's at. Unfortunately, I'm not there yet, as far as psychology goes. And if you want to know how to do a good promo, I'm not tooting my own horn, but you want to know how to really get out there and get yourself noticed, watch a Big Time Mike promo, watch a Cameron Jackson promo, watch a Jason Walker promo. That's a guy that doesn't get enough credit. Jason Walker can cut promos, people. Jason Walker is so intelligent, and he really puts that into his promos. He doesn't try to be something that he's not. He knows who he is and what his game is. So what he does is he brings his intelligence his own intelligence that he has, and puts it in his words, the way he articulates his thoughts. I'm just amazed at the way he can articulate thoughts. I'll give you guys another example. Cage, Cage is a great promo cutter. Cage is good. The good thing about Cage is Cage doesn't talk in circles. He's not good with flashing and bashing and wang and bang. I'm a big flashy guy. I like to go around. You know, if I'm going I'll give you an example. If I'm going to the stop sign in a promo, and my promo was a vehicle, I will go across the street, down the road, turn back around, go in a circle, go through the old folks' neighborhood, egg someone's house, come back, and then go to the stop sign. You know, that's a Big Time Mike promo. A Cage promo is straight and to the point, and the good thing about that is he adds a little bit of spice here and there, but for the majority, it's just right there, straightforward. There's nothing too flashy about it, and that's the good thing about Cage, is that he has learned, you know, because he's in the Indies, he has learned how to do that. So, guys, once again, I want you all to support Backyard Wrestling, and support it as heavy and hard as you can, because you guys are the only thing that keeps this thing going. But anyway, once again, check out the Creedcast if you have not. I want you guys to check it out, not even because I was on it. Don't even check it out because I was on it. Check it out because Everett Creed puts out great product. The UWE puts out great product, and they don't get near as much credit as they deserve. They deserve a lot more. And check out the Backyard Wrestling Fix. Check out Backyard Politics. Check out the Big Time Talk Show. And thank you all for listening today. We love you. We're just so happy that you're on here today. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to segue over into another topic. The discussion I got today is I'm gonna kind of bounce a little bit back and forth. If you haven't noticed, that's the theme of my shows. I like to bounce back and forth. Those are really, it's really fun to do that. So we're gonna segue over into this topic that I have. And of course, I'm by myself today. I'm riding down here in beautiful Mobile, Alabama, on a wet, rainy day. It's 11:22 a.m. Central Daylight Time. It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold for down here, which sometimes it'll get a little bit chilly. It's raining, it's nasty, it's wet. I'm riding in the old Yoda. I'm putting along. I got my, I had my coffee from this morning, but it's gone now. I got me my bottle of water, and I got my notebook. Just left my psychology class, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't heard the story about my public speaking class yesterday, I advise you to go check it out. But if you haven't heard it, I'm not going to tell the story on this show today, but I mean, I'm sure many of you have heard it. But if you want to hear it again, I got it posted on Twitter, and I got it on my YouTube channel. It was called The Big Time Ride, because, you know, many think it was a talk about Seth Maverick. No, it was not a talk about Seth Maverick. Seth just happened to be put in there. But that's not the point. I'm going to go on to my topic, and I have my notes out here somewhere if I can find them. Kind of hard to do that. I got my notepad here, but it's not going to come straight from the notes if I can never get the daggum thing open. Okay, so today the topic, or the first topic we have, I want to go with violence in backyard wrestling, because violence in backyard wrestling can be good and it can be bad. You know, it's kind of like violence in backyard wrestling is kind of like salt. I'm gonna refer to it as salt. Salt, like you season meat or some potatoes or green beans or something. Some salt is good for you. Too much salt is bad for you. Very bad for you. It can even kill you if you have too much salt. You have to balance it out. Same with violence. Many people think that backyard wrestling should be hardcore, light tubes, tables, thumbtacks, barbed wire, blood, guts, gore. That's what people think backyard wrestling should be. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it shouldn't. It's my humble opinion, it should not be like that. Because if you're doing that, where's the storytelling? Because ultimately, in a match, if you don't have storytelling, if you don't have anything to grab my attention, if the only sell you have to me is we're going to hit each other with light tubes. If that's the only thing you have to sell me with, why am I even watching? Why? I want you guys to go check it out. I was surfing the internet the other day, and I went on YouTube and I typed in backyard wrestling. Just the word, not BYW, but backyard wrestling. And a documentary, loaded up. And it was a few kids, I don't know, it was back in like the early 90s. Well, maybe not early, probably mid-90s. Back when the Attitude Era was in full swing. ECW was real popular. So I watched this documentary, and not a single wrestler on here they never wrestled on a trampoline. They usually wrestled in a dirt pit and hit each other with light tubes and such. And I mean, these kids were just absolutely killing each other. But they talked about, their love for wrestling and how this helped them cope with life problems and family problems. And I mean, they had one arena over there. It was on a big hill, and the wrestlers, or the performers, the kids, these kids couldn't have been about 13, 14 years old. These kids were talking about the fear they felt for their lives whenever they were walking up the hill to this certain arena. I forgot the name of it, and I know that's really unprofessional of me to, have something out and forget the name of it. But anyway, ended up being that they had a match. They had like a death tournament or something, and they had like a death pool match or something, where the objective of the match was to put your opponent into this death pit, which was full of light tubes and barbed wire and broken tables and glass and nails. And old dude choke slams the other dude, the two finalists. I think I don't remember what their names were, and I don't remember who went over. I can't remember. But good God Almighty, son, you gonna let me over? I appreciate that. Well, old dude gets choke slammed into this pit. Okay, the light tubes break, of course. Nails are in his back. It looks like a mangled mass. He's already busted open. They're wrestling on a dirt pit. He's got dirt in his wound. I can't even imagine what kind of infections he got. The light tube is stuck in the back of his head. They have to carry him down with the light tube still stuck in his head. There's no like adult. They don't call an ambulance. They're like 20 miles out from civilization. They're like out in the middle of nowhere. They drive him to a hospital. Kid has like a concussion, broken neck. He's got all these injuries, and ended up having to burn. They ended up having to get the fire department came out there and just burned the whole thing down. But people, if you think hardcore wrestling is violence, and if you think violence in wrestling is hitting each other with weapons and busting people open and thumbtacks and tables and chairs and fire and people, you can be violent in wrestling and not have all that. I'll give you a great example. Kurt Angle, one of the most violent wrestlers in professional wrestling, period. When Kurt Angle threw those suplexes, when he popped those hips, he threw people around the ring. When he beat on people, he beat on people. JBL, whenever you wrestled JBL, you knew you were in for a strong style match because he didn't pull punches. JBL rarely pulled punches. When JBL hits you, it's like a wrecking ball. The dude's like 300 pounds. He's a former offensive lineman. I mean, when he comes with the clothesline from hell, maybe that's part sell, but JBL is trying to take your head off. So when I bring up violence in backyard wrestling, I'd like to see more. Violence really wasn't a good name for this. Maybe aggression would be a better name for this. Aggression in backyard wrestling is key, because just like I said last night on the Creekcast, if you can't give me something to bite on, it's like you're fishing. If that bait isn't enticing to the fish, he's not going to bite. It doesn't matter if you wiggle in front of his face, he's not going to bite. If you can't give me something to bite on, something to really sink my teeth into, why am I even watching? If you give me a good violent competitor who likes to beat down his opponents, I mean really beat somebody down. When he throws suplexes, he pops those hips. When he works on a body part, he works on it like he's really trying to hurt somebody. But if you give me this old 12-year-old crap where I'm going to suplex you, I'm going to pick you up, suplex you again, pick you up, suplex, drop kick, no selling, no aggression, no psychology, no stopping in between, no trash talk to the cameraman, to the crowd, nothing. If you don't give me any of that, and then you hit a finisher, and you jump 3 or 4 times to get some big air and hit a 450 splash, and that's it, or you put somebody through a table and that's it, I don't want to watch that. That's crap. And then at the end, you're not even going to cut a promo. You're just going to, oh fuck yeah, I won. Really? I don't understand it. People, let me explain something to you. Wrestling, professional wrestling, is storytelling. If you don't want to tell stories, if you don't want to cut promos, if you don't want to entertain people, do not wrestle. Do not say you want to be something in this business, because that's professional wrestling in a nutshell. It's promos, storytelling, and holds. That's all it is. Promos and storytelling are the two things. It's kind of like football. Blocking and tackling, that's all it is. It doesn't matter if you run the wing tee, it doesn't matter if you run the spread, it doesn't matter if you're Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State. It's blocking and tackling, just like in wrestling. It's promos and storytelling, that's all it is. Because like actors who tell their stories with words, no actions, we do both. We tell them with words and promos and actions and our bodies in the ring. The ring is the canvas. We are the paint, if you want to look at it that way. We're painting a picture for this audience to see. I give you some good references here. I listened to the like I said, the Talk Is Jericho podcast, and I listened to one JBL. I believe it was maybe it was earlier this week. I can't remember. Last week maybe. I think it was last week. Anyway, JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, was a guest on the show, and he was talking about how he spent several years over in Europe and Japan and I can't remember where else, Ireland, everywhere else, and he said they were over in Japan wrestling, him and Eddie Guerrero. Can't remember if this was for WWE or if it was just a, whatever. He said, and you can quote me. I mean, you can go back and listen to it if you want to. He and Eddie went out the first night when they were in Japan. It was a complete squash match. JBL was just beating, the strong style, because that's the Japanese style, the strong style, the complete beatdown strong style on Eddie Guerrero. Crowd was dead. Nobody enjoyed it. Nobody liked it. Not a single pop. Crowd was dead. The next night they go out there. Same two. Again, same match. And they're in Gorilla. JBL says, Eddie, what are we going to do? We got to change this up. He says, I want JBL. I don't want Bradshaw. I want JBL. And he said, what do you mean, Eddie? He said, I want the JBL who sits and begs and pleads for me to stop. I want the JBL who talks trash, who's dirty, who pokes me in the eye, who kicks me in my nuts, who scrapes my eyes, who freaking, when he puts me in a hold, he grabs my nose and tries to rip my face off. I want that JBL. So he goes out, and JBL starts begging and pleading, the old JBL way. The face starts making his comeback. JBL sits down and just begging and pleading. Looks like he's about to be in tears. Crowd goes crazy. Crowd pops. They tell a story. Eddie wins. Crowd goes insane. So you see the difference there, people. Just wrestling is not going to get the people's attention. Yes, back in Bruno Sammartino and Superstar Billy Graham's day, that was how you did it. You wrestled. You went out there and you locked the hole for 15 minutes, and you just did. That's how it went. But you want to know why Superstar Billy Graham was why he was so phenomenal, why he stood out before everybody else? Because he could talk. Bruno Sammartino couldn't talk. Superstar Billy Graham could cut a damn promo. Now, later on, whenever he went to WWF, I believe, he wasn't that good. This didn't make any sense. But his original run as the Superstar Billy Graham, he was the man. So people, this is 2015. These kids, or your audience, is watching Monday Night Raw, TNA. They're watching Lucha Underground. They're watching all this. If all you have to offer people is just wrestling, that's it. That's all you have to offer people is wrestling. They don't have anything to latch onto. They don't have anything to make them say, I watched this match and it just captivated me. The only thing you have for them is Hurricane Ranas, suplexes, and wrestling holds. And people, I'm sorry to tell you, but your company or your federation, whatever you want to call it, is not going to flourish. And this is my opinion. I mean, and you know, I believe it to be true. Because, all right, let me just put this out for you. I'm trying to think of a good non-wrestling example. Okay, I got it. Alright. You're walking out. You're walking around the mall. You're just by yourself. You're doing your thing. Okay? You see a big crowd over around the food court, so you make your way over there. I'm going to give you two scenarios here. You walk into the food court, and you just see two guys staring each other down, pushing each other. That's all they're doing, pushing each other. Alright? In your second scenario, you got two guys talking trash to each other, kicking tables down, telling which ones and where he can go and where he can put this, telling about I slept with your girl and your mama and everything else, and next thing you know, they start fighting, they start pushing each other, they got the shirts ripped off, they're mad, they're crazy, and next thing you know, their two girlfriends start talking trash to each other, going crazy, they start pulling hair, and the two dudes start fighting each other, they start throwing each other everywhere, he's hitting him with his shoe, he pulled out his knife, he's about to stab him, they're screaming, everybody's hollering, everybody's going crazy, it's just pandemonium. Now what would you rather, what would entertain you more, that, or just the two dudes pushing each other? Now yeah, it's a little bit hard to follow, but it's kind of like a fish, kind of like the fish representative here. We're gonna go with the fish. Someone just throws a piece of bread, hooks a piece of bread, which is not very normal. You just hook a piece of bread on there, a piece of white bread down there. Are you gonna go for the white bread, or someone puts a big juicy worm with all kind of good stuff that fish like? Or even better, it puts a big bloody piece of chicken liver on there, and you're a hungry fish, and all you've had to eat all day is freaking, whatever, fish food or bread, worms, and you got someone puts a big juicy bloody piece of chicken liver on the line, you gonna bite that. You are. You may say you're not, but I promise you will. So the more you can entice people, the better your match is gonna be. And it starts with, if you do a pre-match promo, it starts there. Before you even say anything, it starts right there. It doesn't start when you get in the ring. It starts if you have a pre-match promo. It starts with your commentary. If your commentator cannot build someone up, if his job is if what's going to happen is if babyface is going to go over, and your commentary is not for that, your commentary, ladies and gentlemen, we have a match coming up, and it'll be so-and-so versus so-and-so. If your commentator is not giving a background story, this happened last week, well, is he going to be able to overcome the odds? I mean, good God Almighty, Big Time Mike went to Cameron Jackson's house, he slapped his mama, he went and took all his stuff and lit it on fire, he told him he was a piece of trash, told him he'd never grow up to be anything, told his little brother he was a piece of garbage, that he would never amount to anything, he went and put his brother in the BTA, broke his ankle. I mean, if you can, I mean, and that's not realistic, but people, if your commentary does not build it up before the match starts, it's dead to begin with. Next, your entrance. I said this last night. The three things that make a good backyard wrestling federation: promos, Entrances and commentary. Those three. I don't care if your wrestling is awful. If you have mediocre wrestling, but you have great promos, great storylines, great commentary, and great entrances, you've sold me 110%. And you've sold 95% of America. When you come out to the ring, that is your one chance. That's the one chance you have, just you and the audience. Not you and you audience and the opponent. It's just you and the audience. That's the one chance you have to captivate them and bring them in. DX has one of the most memorable entrances in the world today. The New Age Outlaws, the audience likes to be involved. If you can involve the audience, which I know it's kind of hard in backyard wrestling because not a lot of people have live crowds. And if you can get a live crowd that's willing to cooperate and willing to buy into this, it'd be awesome. You know? Now, dummy, why are you gonna stop in the middle of the intersection when I got my blinker to turn left? Y'all some dummies. Hey, people, I'm gonna pause from this discussion for a minute. I'm telling you, people in Mobile cannot drive. I promise to God they can't. They cannot drive, and I don't know where they got their license from because I got my license over in Baldwin County. They got theirs over here in Mobile County. They cannot drive, I promise you. So if you ever make a trip down here to Mobile, make sure you bring your shovel and a lot of patience because, good God Almighty, you're going to need it. Because Big Time has more than once wanted to come in someone's car and break their ankle while I was talking trash. I have wanted to beat their heads into the ground, run over them, back up, run over them, and back up again. And then run over them on top, put it in neutral, and stay there for about 20 minutes. That's how mad they've made me before. But anyway, before I get on a driving rant, I'm going to go back. Like I said, the entrance is your one time with the crowd. That's the one chance you get to captivate your audience. D-Generation X, the New Age Outlaws. Are you ready? It's gold, New Age Outlaws. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation X proudly brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Road Dogg Jesse James, the Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. And if you're not down with that, we've got two words for you. You know, I mean, the crowd will make or break your show. Which it's hard in backyard wrestling, but if you can get people, you can get them. Next, when you get in the ring, let's not just sit there and stare at each other. When you're the one in the ring, bring attention to yourself. The commentary, if you're one of the people who record the match and then commentate after, I'll tell you one thing to test your commentary skills. And I do this all the time in KBW. Because we record the match and then we go back and we add the commentary in there. And I'm sure most people do that. But when you're in the ring, talk trash to the commentary. You know, the commentary team or the lead commentator or whatever. You know, whoever's playing the babyface role, talk trash to them. And if you can, you can tell if someone's commentary skills and how quick-witted they are, because if they go back and they can time it up with with what you're saying, and you just act like they're replying, so they can come up with a reply. If you can do that, and your commentary team can successfully counter you and talk trash back to you, or do however he wants to do it, man, that's something right there, because you're bringing attention to yourself. Now we're not worried about Big Time Mike versus Cameron Jackson or Big Time Mike versus Cage. We're worried about what did Big Time Mike say? Why would he talk trash to Mike the Dr. Goodman? He's a commentator. Why is Big Time Mike telling Mike the Dr. Goodman to do that? What a dickhead. I hate this cat. I hope he gets his ass kicked. You know, if you can bring attention to yourself, that's the best way to get over. Bring attention to yourself and be original, people. Now, yeah, I know probably some of y'all are thinking, well, that one time in KBW, you stole finally. So you're saying, so I'm just gonna address these people here, and yeah, it's probably been back, and you probably don't even remember, but I cut a promo one time, and I said finally. Big Time Mike has bass in his voice, and he raises his vocal cords. He has a lot of volume when he says words. So just because I said finally, you think I'm copying The Rock? No, that wasn't even anywhere close to what I did. I could have used a different word, but finally is a more notable word in pro wrestling. I didn't use it to copy The Rock. I didn't say, finally, Big Time has come back to Mobile, Alabama. No, I said, finally, Mr. O has given Big Time a match for his show. I didn't copy The Rock. And the same thing about me walking out into the ring. Why can't I get on my knee and check my watch and say, it's Big Time, baby? Why can't I do that? I didn't say, it's clobbering time. I didn't do that. I'm Big Time Mike. One of the first notable promos I did was with the Great Dane and Pitbull. What time is it? Does anybody know what time it is? It's Big Time, baby. The greatest sports entertainer to ever enter an arena. That was one of my first notable promos. And so why did it all of a sudden, just because I do one thing, it's copying somebody? I will admit I did steal Creepy Bastard from Mr. Anderson. I heard it on Impact. But that's not the point, people. The point is, this is backyard wrestling. I'm not copying anybody. Whatever happens with Big Time Mike happens sporadically. Whatever's in my head comes out. I don't sit back there in our quote-unquote gorilla behind the bush and I'm just like, man, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do CM Punk's entrance. Then when I go cut my promo, I'm going to copy The Rock and do Finally. Then when I get in the ring to entertain people, I'm going to copy the People's Elbow and do the Big Time Elbow. One thing, when The Rock did the People's Elbow, he took off elbow pad. I don't have elbow pads. I never did any of the finger motions. And when I came across, I strutted. I did the Ric Flair strut. Now, obviously, it wasn't my best Ric Flair strut. And the one time The Rock did the Ric Flair strut was obviously when he was facing Ric Flair. You know, so why not? So if you're, and I'm going to go to this. So if you're saying that that is a copy of WWE Superstars, then technically we're all copies of Bruno Sammartino and the Super. If anybody cuts a promo with charisma, we're all copies of Superstar Billy Graham. That's what you're telling me. Well, no, really, that's what people say. And I know a lot of you viewers out there are like, Big Time, we don't think that. Well, unfortunately, some of these idiots who comment on videos, and I know they're fans and they can do what they want to, they say some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. They have some of the dumbest thoughts that could ever grace God's green earth, and I don't understand it. Because they're not thinking about this logically. They're not thinking about, they hear the word finally and they assume that the word finally belongs to The Rock. They assume that The Rock went to the government and said, I am buying this word, this is finally, it's my word, and if anyone says the word finally, then they're copying me. Why is it? I don't understand, but anyway, I'm going to jump back on topic. I had to get that out there because I have a lot of people that don't watch my stuff because of that. They think I copy people, and I don't. I don't copy anybody. I have a lot of people that say I need to be repackaged, but Big Time Mike is not repackaged. Big Time Mike wasn't given to me. No one said, hey, this would be a good idea if you did this for a gimmick. No, Big Time Mike was my idea. So until I see needs fit to be repackaged, until I'm absolutely rejected by the backyard wrestling community and nobody enjoys me and nobody watching my videos, no one says they suck, no one wants me on talk shows, podcasts, then I'll repackage. But Big Time Mike does not need to be repackaged. People just amaze me as of how much they think they know about wrestling. It just amazes me, people, because some of these people, some of these viewers, and I'm not even talking to most of the backyard wrestling fans, just a lot of kids that view KBW's page. They think if you can jump and do a hurricane run or do a flip or dive outside the ring, you're good. I totally disagree with that. I think if you can wrestle on a trampoline like it's a ring and you can carry it like it's a ring, I think you're good. If you can tell a story, you're good. And just because you job out to people doesn't mean you suck. Sometimes you have to do a job. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Sometimes you have to do a job. I've had a job before. I don't mind jobbing. Why would I mind jobbing? I'm here for the common good. It's not about me. It's about backyard wrestling. It's about entertaining you people. One thing you remember was, dang, Big Time Mike got chokeslammed into some cans and Hazard popped out. If that's the one thing you remember from that KBW show, which most people remember, I did my job. If you remember the main event, then I didn't do my fucking job. If you remember Cage more than you remember me, I didn't do my job. It's just the way it is. And I'm not the best. I'm not the greatest by any means. I heard Paul Heyman said it himself. It took him 36 years. 36 years, people, to perfect a promo. Paul Heyman admitting that takes a lot of humility. So, if it took Paul Heyman 36 years, and Paul Heyman is a natural talker, imagine how long it's going to take anybody from the backyard wrestling community, anybody else to master it. Nobody is the master. When you think you're the master, you might want to think again, because there's always going to be a bigger fish in the pond. There always is. Always. And the sooner you learn that backyard, that you can't, another thing to people, you can't go over every match. You just can't do it. It doesn't work that way. If you go over every match, I have no reason to be invested in you. You're going to win every time. Why do I want to watch? If you lose and look good while you're losing, I'll be like, man, I hope he really gets his revenge next week, or I hope he gets even. You know, man, that's common sense, people. When people say, well, you know, Cena goes over. That's WWE's thing. You know, Cena loses sometimes. He doesn't go over every single night, every single pay-per-view. He doesn't constantly say, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. John Cena, you know, a lot of people hate on Cena. A lot of people do. But I respect the dude for what he does, because the man has got a lot of flack. I tell you what, he has faced a lot of adversity. If you want to see Cena at his best, and one of the most, I think you want to see two situations where Cena can handle pressure. I want you to go watch 2 matches, because I know all y'all got the WWE Network. Go on the WWE Network, go to pay-per-views, watch WrestleMania 23. In my opinion, one of the greatest main events in WrestleMania history, Shawn Michaels versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Shawn Michaels tested John Cena, and John Cena proved that night that he was the man. To me, that was kind of the okay between Cena and Shawn Michaels. Now, a lot of people, y'all might have different opinions. I think that was it. To me, if you watch that match and you go back and you watch the beginning, Shawn Michaels and John Cena, they tell a story from the moment they walk down that ring. When they get in the ring and they're staring each other down, you could cut the tension with a knife. When you see the smirk on Shawn Michaels' face, you see the slap. He ducks the punch, hits the knife edge chop, gets him in the corner. Cena's laying down in that corner, sunk down, and he gets a look on his face. What in the hell have I gotten myself into? You watch all the false finishes, the super kicks, the FUs. When Cena gets pile drived onto the steel steps, almost loses the match. Shawn Michaels comes that close to winning the match, and John Cena pulls out, makes Shawn Michaels tap. Good finish. I mean, Cena goes over. Man, it's just, and you see the look of disdain on Shawn Michaels' face. That's pressure, man. Shawn Michaels pretty much made Cena after that night, in my opinion. And then when they had the rubber match or they had the match on Raw in the UK, Shawn Michaels, it was like an hour-long match, and Shawn Michaels went over and won that match. Once again, that is Cena. Cena can handle pressure, people. And I was going to tell you the other one I want you to go back and watch. ECW One Night Stand 2006. I want you to listen to ECW crowds have always been insane. I want you to listen to the way that crowd reacts when he comes through that curtain. I want you to watch as he is getting flipped off by little kids. He's getting cussed at. Someone even threw some kind of beer or something on him. I mean, it was just. And he gets in the ring, and you notice he decided if Cena wins, we riot. And I honestly believe that if Cena would have won that match, or if they would have had Cena go over, they would have had a riot on their hands. I think they would have anyway, but man, I sure did. I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to get a little bit of water, as Steve Austin would say, a swig of water for the working man. But sorry I got sidetracked there, everybody. But anyway. Good God Almighty. Ladies and gentlemen, it is It is now 39 degrees outside. It's South Alabama. It's a rainy, wet day down here in Mobile. I've been riding around, just doing my thing here and there, trying to kill a little bit of time. Thought I would do this little podcast for you guys because it's a big time talk show, the greatest talk show in the world today. Unfortunately, I don't have a guest, but I will have one very soon, ladies and gentlemen, and I can tell you the guest is going to be quite worth your wait, because I'm telling you what, people, when you get this man and this man in the same podcast room together, the same stream together, you've sold out Madison Square Garden already, people. Yes, people, I'm talking about the brother man with the master plan. I'm talking about Cameron Jackson. I'm talking about the one, the only CJE World Heavyweight Champion in the world today, ever in the history of professional wrestling. The only, the one, the only. He cannot be duplicated. He's so smooth, he makes toilet paper look like it's bad. He's so smooth, you can't even hold him, people. You can't hold him up, you can't hold him down. This man is unstoppable. This is the CJE. He is the only man I know of, to come up with more catchphrases than I can in a short amount of time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Jackson, CJE, the one, the only brother man with a master plan, will be on the Big Time Talk Show. If not the next episode, it will be the next episode. Cameron Jackson will be on here very soon, and it's going to be something you don't want to miss. So make sure you stay in touch. Make sure if you don't follow me on Twitter, you need to do so, because if you don't, you're missing out, and you're gonna thirst to death because you're not gonna have enough entertainment to make it through the day. And make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you follow me on Twitter at KBW_Big Time in all capital letters, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that hard to miss. I'm trying to get more followers, trying to get it more out there, and don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to hashtag support Backyard Wrestling. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've just hit the 40-minute mark. So this is what I'm going to do. This is part 1 of the podcast. Part 2 will be coming up later on today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to support Backyard Wrestling, get it trending. Don't forget to watch out for Backyard Politics, the most controversial show in the world today, returning this Sunday. This Sunday, people. It is Friday, and Sunday is not tomorrow, but the next day. sunny day. It's going to make your day worthwhile. You go to church, you come back home, you get ready for Backyard Politics, because it's going to be a ride you won't want to miss. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have Jack Andrews, you're going to have Jason Walker, you're going to have the Cameron Jackson, the brother man with the master plan. Yes, I said the Cameron Jackson, because he is the only Cameron Jackson in the world today. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you will have the undeniable, the unstoppable, the greatest sports entertainer to ever enter an arena. You will have myself, Big Time Mike, the trash-talking, ankle-breaking, greatest man to ever grace God's green earth. You have Big Time Mike. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting something new today. I want you all to hashtag Team Big Time. If you want to join Team Big Time, I want you to get it trending. Hashtag Team Big Time. I'm going to have some shirts made. Yes, shirts made, people. Like I said on a podcast prior to this one, a couple before, it was a Big Time Talk Show with the Dream. We're having a website made at this moment, and we're having merchandise. Merchandise is going to be put on this website. So, make sure you once again look out for the Backyard Wrestling Fix, the Creekcast Yard Center. Make sure you look out for Backyard Politics, the most controversial show in the world today. It's returning this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you forget about it, and don't you ever forget. And this has been the Big Time Talk Show, the greatest talk show in the world today, hosted by yours truly, the trash-talking, ankle-breaking, greatest man to ever grace God's green earth, Big Time Mike. And ladies and gentlemen, just in case you forgot or didn't know, it doesn't matter what day it is, what time, or what show I'm on, it's always Big Time, baby!